He's the shove-it man, oh he's the shove-it man. He's gonna shove it, yeah, he's gonna shove it, man.
Alright, Shove It Squad. You know how I say that NWA TNA might be the most unpopular long-running series on YouTube? Well, it's about to get a whole lot worse. This episode I've been dreading. It's like, I know I've got to get through it to get to the good stuff, but it is such a waste of time. Because today is episode 89, which is the World X Cup 3. Team Mexico versus Team UK? The issues are as follows. The majority of the people watching this video aren't going to know any of the members of Team UK. And on top of that, Team UK don't even wrestle in X Division style. And it gets worse because Mexico don't even have Juventud this time. So it begs the question, why did TNA think this would be a good idea? Who was this meant to be appealing to? Especially because this is just a few weeks after the last World X Cup, which was vastly superior. Right, let's get this out the way. I've looked at the schedule and we are not that far off some of the bigger stars joining TNA and the start of Impact, so the Hawk has to hang in there. The first guy out is Extreme Dean Allmark. At least S.A. Rios is still here though. You know, he's a big favourite of the Hawk. I think when I was coming up watching the light heavyweights of the WWF, it was S.A. Rios and Taka Michinoku who really appealed to me. How did the WWF never have them in a programme together? Anyway, on to less interesting things. We're about a minute in and they're just rolling around on the floor. It doesn't feel like an X Division match at all. In fact, it's not much of a match, pretty simple. S.A. Rios wins after about 5 minutes when he drops Dean Allmark on his face and nails a split-legged moonsault for the 3. A waste of time. We cut away from that nonsense tournament so that Raven can hype his match against Chris Harris. Raven won the Fatal 4-Way last week and now he has to beat Chris Harris to get a match against Slapnuts and his Slapnut belt. I'm not sure what sort of match to expect from these two. He calls Chris Harris a corporal whilst Raven is a 4-star general. They talk about how Vince Russo isn't being a nutcase anymore. Raven complains that he isn't a Vince Russo guy anymore, whilst AJ Styles and Sonny don't look at his ass Siaki are. Raven thinks Russo doesn't want a guy like Raven representing the company. The next match is Robbie Dynamite taking on Heavy Metal. Yes, this is an episode of TNA. It's another crap match which doesn't even reach 5 minutes. Mexico win yet again with a roll-up. Why are we doing this? It's like TNA knew they shouldn't have done this, they just want to get it over as quickly as possible. Chris Harris gets a long miserable promo where he discusses that nobody wants him here as he's taken up a main event spot. The next pointless match is Frankie Sloan, who makes the girls moan, versus Hector Garza, who's been like the MVP of all of these things. He really has been must watch. Mike Tenay tells us that Frankie Sloan has the most basic offense of his team. Wow, I'm really excited to see this match then. This is unlike any other Hector Garza match I've seen. It's slow and uninteresting. Frankie Sloan won't stop working on his leg as the crowd sound annoyed. Frankie works a single leg Boston for what feels like eternity. Sloan eventually misses a diving ass drop and Garza rolls him up a couple of times. The match ends soon after Garza decides to hit a powerbomb which almost makes Frankie's thong fall apart. Garza wins with a corkscrew moonsault. This isn't going well. In the Team UK locker room, Dave Taylor is livid at his team of jobbers. Taylor is worried about what the Queen is going to think about this. Yeah, I'm sure she was a massive TNA fan. James Mason is the team captain and also a proud member of the BBWs. I also mistake him for Simon Miller all the time. He takes on Abismo Negro and Mason jumps in before the bell. Mason keeps hitting clotheslines and uppercuts. Negro comes back with a back suplex, a stunner and a suplex. This doesn't feel like an X Division competition at all. It's almost over after a gut-wrench powerbomb. To his credit, James Mason hits a pretty impactful somersault senton. Surprisingly, this turns out to be the best match so far. These two guys do work quite well together and it's the only thing on this show so far which has even been worth moving your eyelids for. Abismo ends up giving him a frog splash for a 2 and then he looks to dive again when Dave Taylor rushes out and smacks him with the flag. Mason puts on a cross-face chicken wing for the tap-out win. In the back we have Kid Kash and Dallas. They are a part of a tag team tournament for the vacant belts. He calls Christopher Daniels talentless and says Loki is a midget and the only big thing about him is his lips. Dallas refuses to talk as usual. The World X Cup continues with Frankie Sloan who makes the girls moan and Robbie Dynamite versus S.A. Rios and Hector Garza. Hector's still selling his leg from the last match, so they're talking about this essentially being a handicap match. Rios grabs Robbie Dynamite's arm and bounces off the ropes into a super kick. Garza suddenly stops no-selling his leg as he hits a sort of fall-away slam into a dropkick to the ribs. Sloan goes back to attacking his bad leg. This goes on for quite a while. Now it gets a bit strange. After waiting so long to make the tag and finally doing it, SA immediately tags his partner back in. They hit some really poor double team moves and now of course Garza is stuck back in the ring having his leg worked over again. It made Team Mexico look really dumb. The exact same thing happens again too, although this time the double teaming is a bit better. It turns into the S.A. Real show eventually, and that is why I love this guy so much growing up. He is flipping and kicking everyone down. He should have it won with a submission when Dave Taylor once again smashes him out of a flag for the 3. The best match so far in an otherwise unremarkable World X Cup. In the back, Low-Ki is asked if Triple X are back together. He says no, not really, they just want the tag titles. Daniel says if they manage to win the tag titles, they'll talk to Skipper about it. Dean Allmark and James Mason are up next. They take on Abismo Negro and Heavy Metal. Jesus, this just does not feel like a TNA show. Heavy Metal starts out well, but he's too cocky and Mason springs into the ring and boots him away. Dean Allmark almost wins with a backbreaker. Abismo tries to turn up the energy of a dropkick and a backbreaker whilst his partner connects with a crossbody. Nice spot now as the Mexican guys both spring off the ropes at the same time. Slingshot dives are hit to the outside. Nice dropkick off the apron by Heavy Metal. Abismo has it won, but the referee has ADHD. Predictably, Dave Taylor interferes once again, but this time it's different. Because he doesn't use a flag, he hits a bulldog instead. James Mason wins with a chicken wing submission again. Not terrible, but hard to enjoy because not a single guy here is a TNA guy. Up next, a wild Slapnuts appears. Yep, even on a show like this, he still appears.
Double J, Jeff Jarrett.
He calls Raven the master of the swerve, but he'll never be able to swerve Slapnuts. Chris Harris is a tag team wrestler, but next week he's going to find out what it's like to lose to a main eventer. The finals of the World X Cup is up next in this weird and forgotten period of TNA's history. It's going to be an 8-man tag. The TNA crowd loudly chant Mexico. Here we go then. Dean Allmark hits a nice kick which seems to surprise everybody, including himself. Hector Garza completely outsmarts Frankie Sloan. Man, this guy is such a big missed opportunity in wrestling. I don't know how he didn't end up a star. Yeah, this guy was probably a big star down in Mexico, but he should have been on every teenager's wall as a poster all over the world. Mason and Heavy Metal battle over who is the hardest man. It seems to be Heavy Metal. He is made of metal after all. The crowd are starting to sound really restless now. Heavy Metal was the first man eliminated after once again Dave Taylor cheats and interferes. Abismo Negro seems to be the dark horse this episode. I've been enjoying him a fair bit. He eliminates Dean Allmark with a tombstone piledriver. Heavy Metal beats Dave Taylor to the back. James Mason almost wins with a Superman pin. Sloan leaves the match soon after due to an S.A. Rios split-legged moonsault. We're down to 2 versus 2. It doesn't go much longer though as Rios and Hector Garza hit stereo moonsaults and get the double pin. Not a good World X Cup. The British guys look like jobbers despite being solid Mac technicians. It was just poorly booked and poorly planned. It should never have happened with these guys. They weren't the right sort of wrestlers for this competition. Now can we please, for the love of God, TNA, take a break from this? Next week, James Storm will face Slapnuts in a non-title match. Russo looks a bit depressed about this show. Don't blame him. Next week's show's starting to sound good though, with Sabu facing Monty Brown and Harris versus Raven. D'Lo, Brown and Apollo will also get their tag title shot from whoever the next champions are. Just like the last World X Cup show, the show ends with something completely unrelated as it is the finals of the tag team tournament. Kid Kash and Dallas take on Triple X for the tag team titles. Wow, Dallas makes an aggressive start to this one, hitting multiple backbreakers to Low-Ki and hurling him away like a sack of shit. He also throws Cash on top of him, but they don't seem to be in a rush to win. Kid Kash nails his double spring into a head scissors and a tornado DDT. When it's all going well for Kid Kash, it always looks great. His next dive is blocked and Daniels hits a flatliner. Low-Ki comes close with a bunch of pins on Cash. Triple X now have to work together to do any damage to the big man. Kid Kash realises they're losing, so he cheats with a chair from the outside on Low-Ki. Man, these refs are dumb. Somehow, Low-Ki is even dumber, and he thinks that Daniels hit him with it. Daniels also smashes Dallas with the chair, and the ref is useless. Low-Ki then connects the cartwheel kick on Dallas in the corner, but just a 2. Kid Kash takes out Daniels with a pipe to the back, and Dallas wins with his big slam from last week. The new tag team champions are Dallas and Kid Kash. Not a bad rise up the company at all for Archer, capturing the TNA tag titles in only his 3rd or 4th match. But overall, not a good episode of TNA, and we just had to kind of get through that one.